Honestly speaking, though it is not the same, but I always carry nervous energy till today. Not like a newcomer, but yes, like a performer. Nervous energy keeps a performer alert. I have that. That's what Akshay Khanna has said in an interview, and it's a huge pleasure to have Akshay Khanna back with us. Pleasure having you back.
Thank you.
And I think it's a very profound statement. Tell us something more about it.
About what?
About the statement. That
What about
you carry this nervous energy before every film, every shoot, which is I think wonderful for any performer.
It's very essential.
very essential.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. I would feel uncomfortable if I didn't have that little nervous energy with me. But also, the nervousness is, Faridun, more not wanting to disappoint your director. That's the most important thing. Because whenever, as an actor, you always, the first thing you finish a shot, you look at it, you look at your director. And if at all there's any disappointment or ऐसा लगना नहीं चाहिए कि वो उनको जो चाहिए था वो मिला नहीं उनको, तो उस चीज़ को लेके मैं हमेशा थोड़ा सा नर्वस रहता हूँ.
I interviewed Asha Bhosle ji, and she said a statement that I always remember. She said that whenever I get a new song, I approach it as my first song. I have the same amount of nervousness and that energy that whether I'll be able to perform. I speak to the lyricist, I speak to the recordist, and I have that nervousness while I'm going in front of on mic. I think that is the reason why she is what she is. Even now, she's relevant.
Absolutely, you're talking
Even now,
about who?
she's
Asha ji.
relevant. Even now, she's relevant. So,
But I think as one works over the years, you are able to internalize that nervousness. It doesn't necessarily have to be a very external. People should not see it. They might not see it, but it's still there. आप समझ रहे हैं मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ? So I will not be able to see nervousness on Asha ji's face if she's performing or she's singing. But if she's saying कि that nervousness is there, I can imagine it's there. But you will not see it.
You had Section 375 this year, a very highly acclaimed film. You also said somewhere that maybe you feel that certain films can be marketed better so that it reaches to a lot many more people. Do you feel Section 375 was one such film that deserves to be maybe marketed a bit more? And
I didn't say marketed, I said positioned. Sometimes a film is positioned in a way that is not the best, that's not in the best interest of the film. I don't feel that way about Section 375, but maybe to a certain extent, where it was perceived to be another film about rape or alleged rape. The film was much more than that, right. I feel. So sometimes, I mean, I don't know in what context I made that statement, but maybe sometimes films are not positioned in a way that attracts the maximum amount of audiences. So maybe I said that in some context, but I'm not sure what context I said.
as you've said about the nervousness part, that you treat each film with a lot of seriousness, and that is why I think the sort of body of work that you're having, we can just pick several films which have made a mark, and I think Section 375 will be that one film in your filmography.
I think so.
20 years down the line.
Spoken to a lot of people, they had a little apprehension about going to the theatre to watch it, but when they saw it on the net, they were like taken aback and they were surprised as to how good the product was. So I think a lot of people will watch it. I hope. I don't know.
How to deal with this this dichotomy between a film being treated as a product, as you just mentioned, and as a work of art?
It's just two ways of, two different ways of calling something. Some people view cinema as an art form, and some people view it as a product.
Right.
So it really depends on how you look at cinema. I've always looked at it as an art form. If we're still talking about Section 375, I definitely feel it is a piece of art. It's a beautifully crafted script, beautifully directed, very sensitively directed. It is, for me, a piece of art, yeah. Cinema is art for me.
For Sab Kushal Mangal, you've said that it's one of those scripts where I could go for the narration multiple times. Karan is a very good narrator and is truly gifted in that space. So why do you think you were hooked onto the script and the film in the first place?
Yeah, it's just like your grandmother or your mother or someone, when you're a child, they tell you a story to put you to sleep, a nice story, a happy story, a story that takes a child into a different world and he's thinking about, this, that, and then he goes to sleep in a happy space. And that's the sense I got from when I heard Sab Kushal Mangal, the script. I just felt in a very happy space. I like that world. I liked the characters, I liked the relationships, I liked everything about it made me feel good. So anything that makes you feel good, you like to repeat that experience. So when I said that I could hear that script multiple times, what I basically mean I could see the film also. I would like to see the film multiple times. It makes me feel good. It's a feel-good film. It's a film that makes you positive. It's a film that makes you happy. It's a film that makes you laugh, makes you maybe a little cry a little, but it's a happy film. You know, and I like happy, feel-good films.
So you've been part of several.
It really hooked me the first time I heard it. And not only the script, but especially the script, but also the way my part was written. It was something that I just felt I've never been given something like this, never been offered something like this. I could do something with it. I can make a character out of this. I can make this entertaining. I can hold the audience. These are the thoughts that come into you in your head as an actor. Are these things there? They're there. I just have to take them. You know what I'm saying? So I just felt that I could. This is something that I could sink my teeth into. It'll be entertaining. I was very excited about it because it's not a character that I've done in the past. It doesn't resemble anything that I've done in the past. And not only the way the character looks, everything about it is very, very new for me. Yeah. Something I haven't explored before. And it's something I've really enjoyed doing. If you see the film, you will get a sense that this actor is really enjoying what he's doing.
But that is one sense that one always gets with all of your performances, that you're really totally into it. You
That's
just
my job.
try and give something extra.
But that's my job, no? I feel I've been very, very fortunate. I mean, the kind of scripts, the kind of writing that I've been getting is of a very high standard. And it's my job to live up to that writing. It's my job to add value to what's on paper. So if what's on paper is really good, it's really quality writing, and then my performance brings it down, that's not good. It has to enhance it. So I've been very fortunate.
In your personal life, you tend to be this serious person that people perceive that you are serious and reserved in a way. But you've been part of some really hilarious films, like really entertaining and boisterous characters you've been a part of. Is that part of being an artist as well, that you go out of your personal zone and do something that is completely out of your personal zone, maybe? Like Hangama, for example.
Yeah, of course.
There have been so many entertaining films that you've done.
Of course. I mean, playing a lawyer is not part of my experience. I've never entered a courtroom. So, in terms of my personal experience, I have no personal experience of law, of courts, of lawyers, of all that kind of stuff. So, it's outside of my personal experience. Playing a journalist in Accidental or working in the Prime Minister's office is not part of my personal experience. Most films are not most characters are not part of your personal experience.
How important is it for the writing in a comedy to be of a certain level that it doesn't get into gags and maybe double meaning?
There's nothing right or wrong about making any kind of film. If all films have an audience, all kinds of films have an audience. Pornography has an audience, massive audience. That doesn't make it right or wrong. It has an audience. So films that you talked about, those kind of comedies, they have a huge audience. And I've never, at least I can't remember saying that I don't want to be part of that kind of cinema. Of course I'd like to be part of that cinema.
But double meaning?
Of course.
Okay.
Why not? As long as it's entertaining, as long as it's funny, as long as why not? What's wrong with double meaning? There's nothing wrong with it. What's wrong with being serious? There's nothing wrong with it. So there's an audience for all kinds of films. But Sab Kushal Mangal is not one of those films. It's a situational comedy. It's a romantic, feel-good, happy, cute family film. It's not one of those films.
Talking about playing the lawyer part of it, you were also part of Diwangi, which was, I think, a very successful film and a very interesting film. There are talks of Diwangi 2 happening. Do we see you in Diwangi 2 as well?
I don't know. I've not been approached for it, no.
Right.
No.
But it was an interesting film.
It was an interesting film. It was a very interesting film.
When it comes to Sab Kushal Mangal, and the film is catering to the heartland in many ways, how did you just prepare for your character? Because it's a very, I think, colorful it comes across as a very colorful character.
It is very colorful. Very colorful in as much as it's a character with a lot of contradictions. In as much as like he's a politician, he's a gunda, he's a bahubali, and yet he's a very emotional person, a person who can fall in love like this, who can get angry like this. So it's kind of a very unusual character. So it was, because it's unusual and because it's quirky and because it's not a very predictable character, you can have a lot of fun with it. There's no particular characterization which you have to kind of, I don't know how to explain it to you, but you can just fool around with it. You know what I'm saying? As an actor, you can fool around with it. You can do the same take and you can do it in 3-4 different ways, and let your director choose on the editing table which one he wants to keep. So it's one of those characters. You can do it in different ways. You can make different interpretations of it in every shot, which is interesting because the character allows you to do that. Like say in example, for example, in Section, there's not many. I mean, you can do variations, but you have to stick to a. I mean, you have to be within that box. You can't go outside the box. Within the box, whatever you want to do, the little box, you can do whatever you can do, variations or different, little bit here, a little bit there. But with this fellow, you could do much more, which makes it fun.
Can we see you directing in the near future? Maybe is that something that excites you?
No. And the reason I say it is because there's a specific reason for it, and that as a director you have to concentrate on 50 different things at the same time. There may be 5 actors in your frame. There's camera, there's sound, there's art, there's dialogue, there 500 things. I don't have that bandwidth. My mind doesn't have that bandwidth to concentrate on so many things at the same time. So even when you're looking at the monitor, you have to have a certain sense of the edit. Where would I like to edit? Or, do I need to do another shot? So there's so many things that you have to constantly thinking about as a director, which is why it's called a director's medium. I don't have that kind of, my bandwidth is much more specific to just what I'm doing at that point in time. I can't think about other people. So if I am giving a shot, I will not be able to think about all the other things. It'll be too much for me. I don't think I have that talent, which is why I don't think direction is the right. It's not my calling at all.
So you spoke about the fact that you've been getting some really good scripts in the last few years, and the way your filmography is coming across, maybe in the last few years, has been that it's a very interesting mix of film that you're having. There is no age demarcation to that, and there is no character demarcation to that. You've played a villain in Dishoom, a very, I think, interesting and entertaining villain in Dishoom, for example. You've been part of Section 375 and a whole lot of other films as well. Can we call you as a non-conformist when it comes to being an actor?
A non-conformist.
Don't want to conform yourself to that, playing the typical hero and with all the songs.
But I mean, look at all the actors today. I mean, who is staying within the box? Nobody's staying within the box really. Everybody is kind of trying to do as much variety as they are allowed to do, or that they are given opportunities to do. Nobody's taking the safe part, safe road, safe, kind of route. Everybody's trying to.
You mentioned about Ayushmann Khurrana.
When did I mention that?
In an interview.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I mean, you can take him for example.
Ayushmann is doing 3-4 films a year. That's the space I want to be in, and he's doing variety of films. He's doing
so everybody is. Yeah. Everybody is. At least everybody's trying to. Then it depends on the opportunities that you get. You may want to do something, but if you don't get the opportunity to do it, then you can't.
All right, and what do we see next from you after Sab Kuch Mangal?
You'll hear something soon. A couple of announcements soon.
And I'm tempted to ask one more question before we move on. I believe you've also said that one doesn't get work by attending Karan Johar's parties.
That's just a joke. I don't take everything. It's just a stupid statement. I make stupid statements sometimes. Doesn't matter. It's just a joke.
This is Moses Sapir from Israel. Hi, question for Akshay Khanna. First is there any chance to be in a Amar Akbar Anthony remake with Abhishek and Ranbir? Second, he's one of the most talented actors in India. He can do a DCH and same time a Hangama and Ittifaq. Why we are not seeing him more in films? So Amar Akbar Anthony, are you doing with Abhishek and Ranbir?
No.
But it's an exciting prospect, right?
Yeah, I mean, if somebody comes up with a great script, why not?
Second one is that you've done a DCH and Hangama and Ittifaq. Why are we not seeing more of you in movies?
Well, I'd like to do more work. Honestly, I've worked from a very, very young age. So I started working when I was 19 as an actor. I don't know anything else besides for this. And so I'd always, my preference would, when I was mentioning about those 3-4 films, that's the pace of, I would like to work at. I'd like to do 3-4 films a year, or 2 films a year, 3, but you know, that pace of work, it suits me. It's not always possible sometimes, because filmmaking is such a collaborative effort. I mean, you can write a song alone, you can write a book alone, you can make music alone, there's so many, you can paint alone, there's so many art forms that you can do on your own. I mean, with technology today, you can probably write a, a whole album on your own, you can do all your instruments on, on the computer, you can do it on your own. But filmmaking, you need like so many different people from different talent pools that it's not always easy to work at the pace that you want to work at. So sometimes you have to take it slow, sometimes it works that way.
Many people would believe that having seen you in Dil Chahta and the way you were making those paintings, do you make paintings in real life as well?
No.
You don't?
Salman Khan does.
He does, yeah. This is Anurag Sinha from Patna, Bihar. Hi Akshay, big fan of your comic timing. Can you say hello to me? I want to ask that which one of your comedy movies is your favorite and why?
Sab Kushal Mangal.
Apart from Sab Kushal Mangal?
Because it's the best comedy I've done so far. Okay. It's really best. In terms of, especially the performance that my director has taken from me, that he's, extracted from me, the writing that he's given me, and the film in general, I feel it is, in my mind, the best comedic performance of my career.
You've seen the film?
Of course.
What is the duration like?
2 hours.
This is Tanveer Raj Chaudhary from Silchar, Assam. Are you doing Hangama 2?
No.
Many people are disappointed. They would have loved to see you.
I'm disappointed.
You are?
Of course I am. No, I'm just joking.
But have you discussed with the makers?
No.
Yeah, okay. This is Harsh from Mumbai. Hi Akshay, I'm waiting for more suspense films like yours, Race, Ittifaq, Your Best in Everyone. I would love to see you do more movies like this. Just watch Section 375. You're just amazing. Hope you work with Ranveer Singh soon. So there are too many questions. So basically, he likes your suspense thriller movies like Race and Ittifaq. That's something that he likes. And he would want you to maybe work in those sort of movies.
I love that genre as well. I love watching those those thrillers. I like thrillers. I like suspense. I like those kind of movies. And whenever I get a chance to be part of them, I always jump at it.
This is Nivas Bishnoi from Jaipur. Share your favorite memory during the Dil Chahta Hai shoot.
If he can remember what happened 20 years ago, good luck to him. I can't. Yeah.
This is Amir from Germany. Do you remember your first meeting with Salman Khan in 90s?
No.
Ajay Pal Singh Barar from Sirohi, Rajasthan. Whom would you give a tag of Master Blaster in Bollywood?
Master Blaster, Akshay Kumar.
Why is that?
Box office देखा उनका?
Right.
पिछले 5 साल से.
Okay. So thank you very much, Akshay, and all the best wishes for
Thank you so much.
And looking forward to all the future work.
Thank you.
That's all we have from Bollywood Hungama. Keep on watching.